Will this shoot 'em up scrub the opposition clean? Get it? Get it? Oh, never mind. What we know as Typhoon in the UK and Europe was originally released as Ajax in Japan by Konami. If you'd seen this in the arcade with its behind the plane view and thought it was an Afterburner clone, no it's not. It's actually mainly a top-down shoot 'em up in a far more traditional style than the first level gives the impression. There's some impressive scaling stuff going on in the arcade, reminiscent of later SNES games. Anyway, we're more concerned with the UK home conversions, released by Imagine at the end of 1988, Spectrum, Commodore and Amstrad CPC. Imagine by this point, of course, a division or a label of Ocean. And we will start on the Commodore 64. Most of the magazines, or certainly Amstrad Action, reviewed this in February 1989. But off we go, and yes, as I said, you are suddenly reminded of Afterburner, which is very much a contemporary for home release of this game. But Amstrad Action reviewed their copy in the same edition they reviewed Afterburner. So you might be wondering why the clouds are kind of flying at you, and the answer is you are diving down. But first of all, you have to get past the waves of planes and missiles that are coming at you. Although with the animation on the 8-bits here, it's a little bit confusing as to what's actually happening. You're flying through the clouds or down through them? It's down through them, I think, but yeah. They should clear any second. Here we go, there's the carrier that we've got to bomb. And there's one section on it that's vulnerable. You've got two weapons at this stage, a cannon and a bomb. Over to the Amstrad CPC. And yeah, the idea that you're flying through clouds now on this lethargic CPC version is slightly far-fetched. You're flying through something, whether it's a cave or something, or just the sky, but the pace of the animation is so incredibly slow. And then rather than appear through the clouds, the carrier just scrolls onto the screen. Laser with a Z on the left-hand side. You don't get power-ups at this stage of the game. So we have to hit the right part of the carrier. And it fires missiles at us very, very slowly. We should get a noise when we hit the right section, but we've got to avoid those missiles. Over to the Spectrum. And the Speccy version at least has some speed, although again, the idea this is clouds you're flying through, I'm not sure. It's just a background. It's really distracting, in fact. But at least there's some speed. You've also got, in addition to your main bomb, a kind of super bomb that you carry, as depicted on the bottom right-hand side there. Although, again, I don't think you can use this on level 1. Like the Amstrad, the carrier appears on the screen from the bottom. It doesn't suddenly scale up or appear through the clouds. Ace gave the Spectrum version 654%, Crash 67%, your Sinclair 7 out of 10. So they're all considering it a fairly middling game. You heard some noises there, they were indicating I was hit. There you go. Now I've destroyed the carrier, they indicate you're hitting the right place. It's kind of that kind of semicircular type thing. Not semicircular, elongated circle, ovoid type thing you have to hit. So suddenly it looks like, well, the latest Swiv or any other shoot 'em up. C64, and we're trying to destroy the carrier, which is still coming towards us. Nice tune on the 64. In fact, all the versions have nice tunes, although on the Spectrum and Amstrad, only on the menu screen. Well done, section completed. Bit of a multi-load on all these versions, unless you've got Specky 128. Or possibly, no, it's a bit early for Amstrad games to be loading in 128K in one go, isn't it? Although I don't know, it might do. Ocean did that later with games like Chase HQ and Robocop, where it would detect 128K and load the lot in. Dragon Ninja as well. So this is the kind of thing the C64 is really at home at. Vertically scrolling shoot-em-ups. As you'd expect, it's buttery smooth, and it's standard fare really, isn't it, for the 64? Use your bombs to hit the things on the ground whilst using the cannons to hit what's in the air. You're not told what weapons you've got available like the Amstrad and Spectrum versions, but it really doesn't matter. Zap gave this 79% and Ace gave the C64 version 704 versus 654 for the Spectrum. So are they islands or clouds we're flying over there? I don't know, it doesn't really matter. The thing is, it's very standard. It's very standard. You've seen this so many times before and afterwards. At the time, contemporaries games like Gemini Wing, for example. And yes, these 3D levels that you get at the start and later on in the game that we see do differentiate it, but not enough, especially when Afterburner is on the 8-bit shelves at the same time. Carrier destroyed on the Amstrad. Clearly, all that display on the left and right on the Amstrad and Spectrum is just to keep the scrolling speed up, especially on the Amstrad, so you're playing in this tiny window. The kind of trick Codemasters pull on some vertically scrolling games. For example, Arcade Light Simulator is the one I'm thinking of, perhaps. Is that the one? Anyway. Let's just try to colour coordinate the colours here on the Amstrad, but it's so slow. It's so slow. And really now, you've got nothing new to see in terms of gameplay experience. It could be a number of any vertically scrolling shoot-em-up games. Back on the 64. We're getting towards the end of stage 2, I think. I do have collision detection turned off on the 64. Apparently in Japan, Ajax, the original game, was the second most successful table unit of 1987, according to Wikipedia, where I've stolen that information from. Hey, at least I admit it. So there should be the end of level for level 2. Now, you can try and shoot your way through the end of level, but ideally you would have a smart bomb at this stage, which I don't have, and you can just launch that at the end of level, flashing things there. But I will still give it a go anyway. We'll watch these, they all explode. But lack of collision detection is helping me a lot here. And there we go, that's level 2 complete, and I go and land back on my carrier thing. And off to level 3, where again it just looks like similar to other games really. And on the Spectrum, the end of level 2, I don't know what Birina Z4 means. It appears at the end of level 2 on the Spectrum and Amstrad versions anyway. Specky could have music while it's playing on the 128, but it doesn't. Which seems a shame. Because you're again at that, not quite at the beginning of the 128K Specky game era, but you know, you want to be offering something more for the 128K owners. And really, well, at least you've got AY sound effects, but nothing else. End of level 3 on the C64. All these things are very similar. Every end of level, you just basically have to shoot a big thing. And if you've still got a smart bomb, that will help you a lot. But wait, are there any more of those behind the plane levels? Well, yes, there are. And here we are on the Amstrad on stage 4. where we're going down a trench very, very slowly, eventually towards an enemy base. Amstrad Action gave this 51% in their February 89 edition, the same edition they gave 81% to Afterburner, and frankly Afterburner ain't much cop, although AA seem to like it. I'm sure it's nothing to do with those double page adverts. I mean, those missiles, are they balloons? What are they firing at me? But this is so slow. I mean, you want the speed of Space Harrier or Afterburner, and what you're getting is a few frames a second, if that. And why are we flying down a trench? I mean, I'm sure in the arcade version this makes sense, but on the Amstrad, you're just going, why? And then the Eye of Sauron appears, or something like it. And we have to shoot it. And you just keep shooting it. You haven't got any smart bombs on this level, and then you destroy it. And then you're back to top-down, vertically scrolling on stage 5. At least on Spec it's a little bit faster. In fact, the start of stage 5 on the Spec looks a little bit different to the Amstrad. The Amstrad just has that kind of patterned background for stage 5, whereas on the Spec you've got a kind of chasm with holes in it, which looks far nicer. I wonder if they're cut back on some of the backgrounds on the Amstrad to make it work on 64K. Well, not only that, but of course a 64K Amstrad, technically speaking, has less free memory after put the display in than the Spectrum 48K. And on the 64, well, at least we've got some speed, and with nothing scrolling towards us much other than some bubbles, we can easily destroy that enemy base thing. We've got a stage 6 that's slightly different on the Spectrum and Amstrad to the C64. And this on the Spectrum, despite what the reviews say about the game having 8 levels, this is the end of game baddie. And here it is on the Amstrad again, which is only stage 5 this time. Amstrad has 5 stages, the Spectrum has 6, and the C64 has 8. That again might be the just saving memory, I guess. Once you've defeated the whatever it is, you get a well done, the alien hordes are defeated. Let's see if it's any better on the C64. Yes, it is, because by the time you get to stage 8, you're suddenly flying towards the city on a brain thing, or what it looks like, that you see in the background of Space Harrier on the arcade. And you have to shoot it, and that's, oh, nicely impressive. Much better. Still only 79% though from Zap. Congratulations, hero, you've destroyed the evil alien marauders from outer space and saved the whole universe. Typhoon, well, it's not really that much of a well-remembered game in a very competitive market from Christmas 1988, and you can kind of see why. I don't think it was the best arcade game of the time to begin with. You then try and put that on the home systems where there's lots of competing games. Games like Afterburner that Christmas where you fly behind the planes, and loads and loads of top-down shoot-em-ups. And this is all very lackluster, even on the 64. The Spectrum and Amstrad versions are just, well, poor really. The Amstrad version particularly so, with only 5 levels and an appalling screen update rate. The Spectrum version at least gets 6 levels, but it's not much better than that. Not even on the 128K Spectrum. C64 version, you kind of think this might be initially impressive. A lot of reviews say, well, the game has a rubbish first level and then picks up. But really, you're competing against all these other top-down games. And On the 64, that's a feel that's particularly competitive. It may have a nice tune, it may have smooth graphics, but there's loads of games like that. I'd suggest that if you got this game, Christmas 1988, for your C64, and your mate had got, say, Afterburner, even though it's not that good, you'd have been pretty disappointed. It's an arcade game that I don't think is that great, ported onto 8-bit systems that, okay, the 64 can manage vertically scrolling shooters pretty well, but in such a competitive field, this comes across as poor and lackluster. Is this a Typhoon? No, it's really more of a storm in a teacup.